Hey guys, welcome to In It for the Limit Fishing. I'm Matt Price, and today we're after some crappie. It's late summer, not quite into the fall season yet, but the temperatures are dropping early in the morning. This morning is about 72, and it's going to get warmer this afternoon. So I'm going to try to let some of this fog lift off first before I head out. I'm going to look at some beds that are in here where I put in, and just see what's going on. I noticed some shad flipping as I'm talking right now, but I noticed some small fry along the banks this morning too as I put in. So stay tuned. Alright, so I'm out here checking spots that I already know about, and I graphed a few fish, thought I'd see what's there. And before I could turn the camera on or anything, we got us a little yellow bass. But normally what I hit these with is I'll do a double rig. On the top rig I just put a Bobby Garland. I'm going to try chartreuse this morning. And on the bottom, a live minnow. And we're just going to drop straight. See if we can find us some crappie mixed in with the yellow bass. There might be a school yellow bass here, I don't know. We're about 15 foot deep, and water temp's about 83 degrees. There we go. There we go. Whoa! Quick catching at least. This one looks like he's not going to keep. We'll measure him anyways, because today we're keeping him. Because we're trying to do a neighborhood fish fry this fall. And I got some fillets in the freezer, but I'll make sure we got enough for the neighborhood. And he's got that. You got 9-inch disease. Since this is a small bed, this looks like a bucket bed or a small brush someone's dropped. I'm sitting right on top, and I'll usually, if it's a small bed like that, I'll drop straight down and then reel up to about the right depth, and then I'll just swing it through and over the bed. And that one bit real light, barely feel it. Little bit tap. Replace that one. Let's go with the chartreuse. Try I like to use the Moglo. It's got a little brighter color, and water's not as dingy as it normally is. And water clarity and temperature is all relative to whatever body of water you're fishing, but this is normally when I start out with this in this lake. And really, I don't think color matters until it matters. Doesn't make a difference until it really does make a difference, and then it makes a big difference. So this morning we'll see how big a difference it makes. If they get finicky, we'll start changing colors and things, but I usually stick with the same thing. I try to keep it simple. I don't know if you can see that on that bottom. We're on the 2D sonar. You can watch when you're vertical jigging like this. You can actually watch your jigs and get your depth. I'm at about 10, right around 10 foot, right on top. I like to keep it above them, and then slowly drop it right on top of them. If you don't have autopilot, once you mark your bed, you'll want to drop a buoy on it and then back off and cast to it. Since we're sitting about 15 foot of water, I'm just sitting right on top of it and dropping straight down and spot locking right on top. If I have somebody with me, I'll usually drop a buoy and back off so we can cast to it and then swing through it. What I'm doing is just letting it pull through that bed. When I move my rod over, it'll just swing straight through. Then I wait, and I move a little bit more and just let it swing and fish. I just swinging it right over the bed. Alright, we moved out here to about 20 foot of water and came across a nice bed at the head of a cove. We're going to try to drop down and see what we got in here. I always like to stop at the top row first drop. There you go. Didn't take long. It's probably only about 6 foot down and got bit. So I see him at about 7.5 foot, so I'm gonna drop down, try to start at the top and work my way down. Just letting it drop. Ooh. Did I get robbed? Nope, it's still on there. There we go. Ooh, look at that donkey. That's a good sign. Right there. It looks like he might be a 12 incher. Let's see. Oh, he's easy 13 right there. Drop him in the bucket. So I'm watching on my 2D. I got it at about 7 foot. I just dropped it down to about 9. I see something coming up to it right now on the 2D. He just dropped off. So I'm gonna drop it down a little more. I'm just right above. There we go. I saw him come up and hit it. Better check this one. We got the 9.5 disease. There we go. Ooh, that's a better one. Turn that. No, that's not a good. 13. Might be 14. To show you a difference in a spot, this one's loaded a lot better, but if you're fishing a spot and they ain't biting, don't try to make them bite. Go find you a school that's feeding. This one has, ooh yeah, 14. Nice thing about iPilot is I can just hit waypoint, go back. I had to turn my spot lock off. And just that matter of time, we drifted about 30-some foot off the spot. Nice thing about iPilot, and you can see them. Let me get down here so you can see when I'm fishing. all that. That is all crappie. I'm not doing anything fancy on this spot. I'm just dropping straight down. Sometimes you got to swing through it, but when they're feeding, you can just drop straight down on them. Again, I can see my lures right on top of that school. I'm just holding it above all. I'm not dropping straight down into it yet. And I just drop a little bit at a time. Ooh, that's a good thump right there. I messed that one up. He hung up before I could answer. And you can tell when the school's feeding that last spot. We got a couple fish. One being a yellow bass right off the drop. But they were barely, the bites we had, they were very light. These so far have been thumpers. You can see my bait dropping. It's about 8 foot. Oh, I see a fish pulling up on it. Just gonna hunt it. It's not gonna take it. We'll drop down more. Go to the next. About 9 foot right there. That felt like that was top hook. So that one hit the top. I really need to replace that one. Alright, while I'm tying on, I'll show you how I rig up the dub thread. Now, you can use different sizes. If I use 2 different size weights for jig heads, I'll put the heaviest on the bottom. But I'm just going to use the same size on both of these. I'm fishing a little bit deeper. These are, I believe, 1/16, which is what I like to use typically, especially in deeper water. I'll line it up if I'm shooting docks or something, or they're a little bit more finicky. So I give myself plenty of a leader line. I'm going to do I believe it's called T-knot. Not for sure, but I get it. I jig where I want it, make a circle. Then I'm just gonna pinch both ends and then spin it. I'm gonna do that about 5 to 7 times. Now this knot is not for strength. It serves a purpose. It's a purpose knot for, it'll get your jig to set out a little bit from the hook. Now you wanna make sure you wet it so it doesn't burn your line, or it'll definitely break on you. Pull it tight, and that'll swing freely, and it'll kind of hold it. See how it holds it there, kind of off the line a little bit, so it can swing a little bit freely. Then down here, I'm gonna tie a typical loop knot. Give myself a lot extra here. I'm probably going to drop it to about right here. So we'll give myself we'll probably take it to about a foot and a half. Right here. For the bottom one, I'm just going to do a simple loop, real quick and easy. I pull it through, I wrap that around these 2 fingers, and then I'm just going to 1, 2, and 3. Then what I like to do is hook it right here, pinch my thumb on it so that loop doesn't spin on me, wet it, pull it tight, down to about the distance I want it, however big I want to make my loop, then I pull it off and tighten it. Again, both of these are not strong knots, but they allow your jig sit the way they're supposed to be sitting. when you're either vertically, or what I typically do is I'm swinging through and allow it to swing freely. Alright, so I'm gonna feed this one on. Again, Bobby Garland on top. I've got a couple bites off that this morning. And a mint toast on the bottom. Alright. It's hard to leave fish to find fish, but that's what we're going to do. Alright, I have moved up to some main channel spots. And where I'm at is on a channel swing. And there are, on these swings, you'll get entire full-size trees that are washed out into the when the banks, if you look across, I don't know if you can see all the way across the bank there, you've got all that erosion with entire trees just fall into the water. Well, when it floods, those trees wash out, and on these channel swings they'll get caught and sink. So there are several trees here, and these are full size. I got about 4 or 5 of them marked on this swing that we're going to try to hit. And on this first one I saw them kind of on top, so I'm trying to stay off of it a little bit and cast to it. Oh, missed that. There we go. Got him that time. Oh. Well, that's not what we're chasing, but we got 2 of them. That's not quite eating size right there. There we go. That feels like a bass. Or a stripe, yep. Another yellow bass. That's not what we're shopping for. Alright, so our trees had a lot of bluegill and yellow bass on them, so we are moving out to stake beds and looking for new beds. And these, I'm not fishing blind. These are, Shannon found these with live scope, and I'm just coming back and marking them on mine based off his mount points. And there we go, first drop. We have, looks like that one looks like he'll keep. There we go, and I've switched up a little bit. I decided, I broke off on the tree. I wanted to try this. This is just a fly tide. Doesn't look pretty, but in the water, it's got a nice flash to it. So let's make sure this one keeps there. Ew. Yep, whoop, yep, 10.5. So I had my camera off on this one, but I came across, looked like a school of crappie hanging out on some rocks on the ledge. Thought I'd drop on them, and it's the first one I pulled off. Let's make sure he keeps. Oh, in the bucket. Did exactly. Alright. So I thought we'd do a little bit of scanning on the way in before we left. Found another bed. Got another fish. just getting a little bit too wakey out in the main water. I have to get back before it rains. Oh yeah, it's good letting. Alright guys, so this trip was all about learning the new GoPro cameras, my first time using it, and trying to find some new spots in an area that I hadn't actually crappie fished that much before. But on the way home, this happened. While trying to beat the rain home, blew out a tire. Luckily this was close to my dad's house because my wrench for the SUV was too big for the lug nuts on the boat tire. A huge shout out to Euro Spec Auto Repair Shop. I actually broke down right in front of them. They were nice enough to come out and use a drill to help me pop off some of those tough lug nuts and sent me on my way. Also, shout out to Coach JJ with Alcoa Bass Fishing Team. They just stopped by to make sure that I was okay, along with the Blount County Sheriff Department stopped in. So that's one of the great things about living in this community is everybody's willing to stop and help a fellow fisherman out. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Until next time, y'all take care. Keep chasing that limit. God bless.